Hello again and welcome to the Memoir channel. Today I'm speaking with Lisa Rose Wright about her memoir, Plum, Courgette and Green Bean Tart, A Year to Write Home About, Seeking La Vida Dulce in Galicia. So I hope I'm pronouncing all of that correctly, but I'm thinking this is part travel memoir, maybe a bit about food and cooking and spending some time in Spain, I imagine. So let's talk to Lisa and find out a little bit more. Hi Lisa, welcome to the Memoir channel.
Thank you, Nikki. It's nice to be here.
And I'm not quite sure where you are. I'm thinking maybe Spain, but where in the world are you today?
I'm actually in Galicia, which is the northwest of Spain. So the bit just above Portugal, sort of straight above. Yeah.
So your book, the title of your book, that's where you still are.
Yeah, that's where we still are. Yes.
Okay.
17 years and still here.
Wow. All right. So maybe I know what it's about, but maybe you want to just say how you landed up in Galicia, because that's part of the book, right?
It is, yes, yeah. When I met my husband, we were both looking to leave the UK and go somewhere where we were able to be more self-sufficient and have a bit more land and somewhere a bit warmer. Everybody says Galicia is wet and cold, but it's really not. It's absolutely glorious today. Anyway, we walked part of the Camino de Santiago and basically fell in love with Galicia while we were doing the walk. And luckily, I'd taken with me a number for an estate agent in Galicia. Mm-hmm. So we ended up doing our walk and then looking at houses in Galicia and completely fell in love with the area. And eventually, after a few more years, we found a house that we liked and we're still here. So that was 2004 when we first came to Galicia.
So, I mean, I remember reading somewhere along the line that when you did the walk, you had way too much stuff with you, and so you just knew you're not going to make it.
That's right, yes.
So how far did you actually make?
We made it walking, not that far, to be perfectly honest. We only had 3 weeks. That's not an excuse, yes it is, no. We began in Gijón and we walked as far as the border with Galicia, which is Ribadeo, which is actually not that far, I don't think. It's probably quite pathetic, really, but we had blisters on the first day, on the second day, on the third day, and yeah, it was a beautiful walk, but I don't think we'd prepared quite as much as we thought. We were doing the coastal route.
Have you thought of giving it another try with a now that you know what you're doing and you would go about it differently?
We've done parts of other Caminos because you probably know there's quite a few different Caminos that you can do.
Right.
That one was the northern route. And to be honest, I think the last part of it now, because we know it so well from traveling on those roads, it's not quite as exciting. Right. But we have done a couple of other sections on the French route with friends, and we've been doing a long distance walk that's not actually a Camino but goes along the west coast of Galicia, called the Camino dos Faros, which is absolutely gorgeous.
Okay. So when you wrote this memoir, it's a collection of letters that you were writing home to your mom. Is that correct?
They feature a lot in it. It's a book basically about the first year that we were here in Galicia, and it's written in letters, diary entries, and then obviously narration in between, telling the story of our adventures that first year in Galicia.
And what made you choose this title? Why were the plums? I mean, I saw one letter when you said I've been eating hundreds of plums or something, so I was just wondering why they feature so strongly.
The title came about from one of the letters to Mum's, when I'd said that we had so many plums and green beans, and I said all the things that I'd made, you know, sort of, I don't know, plum jam and plum ice cream and bean tart, and I said I could do a plum courgette and green bean tart. And then a friend of mine who shares my love of cooking said, "Why don't you make one then?" I said, "Well, yeah, I could do, I suppose." So I actually made a sort of quiche with, actually used dried plums, but plums, green beans, and courgettes. It was
Okay,
actually quite nice.
see, now I didn't get that at all. I thought they were three separate things. I didn't realize, I thought it was about, the plum and the courgette and then the green bean tart. I didn't realize it was one
Yeah,
thing.
the whole thing, yeah. And all the titles of the books in that trilogy are all strange like that. So
Okay.
the second one is tomato, fig, and, oh heck, I've forgotten myself now, pumpkin jelly, which I also made.
Wow. And okay, so wait, these are experiments that you're doing. I mean, are they tasty?
Yeah, they've all worked. What I did was, it was the three things that we had the most of in each year, and then I decided to try and create something from them. So
And
it was just a joke, really. It's the first, but
well, you're growing all of this stuff.
yeah, we do. Yeah, we grow a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well done. I love that. All right,
Well,
so
the plums grow themselves, actually.
yes, but there's still, I mean, it's still, I think it's quite a bit of work to look after, and it sounds like you must have quite a bit of land to grow all of that.
We've got a fair amount. Yes, we've got I don't know, a couple of thousand square meters, I think.
Yeah,
Something like that.
that's definitely work.
It is, yeah.
So, how many books have you written now?
I've written 6 altogether now. 3 in the first trilogy that are all about our adventures in Galicia. The first one was our move into Galicia the first year. The second one was, we, for some ridiculous reason, decided to get married in Galicia. We thought that would be easy. So that's the second one, because it wasn't easy at all. That took another year. And then the third one is a sort of double one. My mum finally agreed to move here. So it's a 2-part book. The first year is finding her a house. She wanted her own house. And then it's 2 years. The second year is her moving here. So that was the end of the letters home. But she moved here 8 years ago now. So that's the first trilogy. And then I moved on to more travelogue, I guess. The fourth one is our travels, the three of us, around Galicia. So it's more a travelogue of places that we visited and fell in love with in Galicia. And then the fifth one was a round the world trip that we did for my husband's 70th birthday. And the last one that we've just done was another trip that we did to New Zealand the year that COVID appeared. So we had all that as well. So that was...
Okay, so I'm seeing a little pattern here. It's like I go and do something, I write about it. I go do something else and I write about it.
I guess so, yes. That was never the idea originally. I never had any intention of writing about anything originally, really.
And obviously you're enjoying it, or you wouldn't still be doing it.
I do. I think it's addictive. I think once you start writing, then I think you can't stop, really.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. It is a bit addictive. I think you're right.
Mm.
I was going to say, how long does it take you to write a book? More or less.
Sorry, I was going to say, actually, the first one, I suppose on and off, took me 10 years, because I always had the diary and the letters anyway. And I always wrote little stories. I've had a few short stories published in various books and magazines. And that took me a long time. And when somebody suggested making a book, I couldn't imagine managing to write sort of 70, 80,000 words. But now I can do a first draft in maybe 2-3 months. It then takes me another 6 to make it legible and make sense, but I can get through a first draft quite quickly.
Yeah, very good.
You get used to doing things.
And when you write, do you like to be alone at home? Do you like to be out and about in a coffee shop? Do you like lots of noise? Do you want complete silence? Do you want music? Like, what's your chosen environment?
Silence. I have silence. I sit up here. This is, I'm up in my work study, I suppose. We've got a mezzanine level in our barn. It's a living room now, but it was a barn. I've got my desk up here. I sit here quite quietly and peacefully.
Ah.
And actually, this week is very exciting for us because for the first time in 17 years, I'm having this conversation with you in my own house as opposed to in a car somewhere, because we finally, after 17 years, got cable. So I have internet at home. It's so exciting. It really is.
Yay!
We were
Wow.
promised it 10 years ago and it's finally arrived. So
Oh my gosh, that must be really exciting for you.
it is, to be able to sit in the warm. Rather, I've done Zoom calls with woolly hats on and gloves on, sitting in the car, going, it's cold.
Ah. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And then, okay, so how do you go about publishing? Are you just self-publishing, or how did you...
I'm self-published. Yes, one of my fellow writers here in Galicia, Craig Briggs, really helped me on the first book and helped me to self-publish through Amazon. I did initially get a publishing contract with a small publishing company, but to be perfectly honest, we fell out over their inability to proofread. They were actually introducing errors into the book rather than removing them. So yes, it wasn't good.
No.
Yes. So yeah, that didn't go so well. So I decided I'd be better off doing it myself, to be honest.
And I mean, you're probably really good at it now. So if you've done 6, you probably really know how to do it now. It's probably pretty easy for you.
Yeah, I think with the publishing, you get used to it. Although, of course, when there's 9-10 months between books, I have to remember all over again what I did last time.
Yeah, because it's quite tricky getting the formatting and everything correct.
Yeah,
It's not easy.
And it's the page numbers always get me. I can never remember how to put the page numbers on.
And you probably
every time, sorry.
And I'm saying you probably have photos too, right? So that's another thing. And then they kind of shift and.
I've only got one book where the photos are in it. The others I've got a link to an album, because the photos make it quite expensive in the book. So I've just got a link to an album online.
That's
for
clever.
most of the books.
Yeah. Now, is there maybe a part of your book that you would like to read for us today?
I was looking through, actually. It's quite difficult to get something out of context, but I thought I've got a short letter that was to my mum.
All right.
And it's because that trilogy is based on the letters home, so I thought that'd be quite interesting. And it's from early in, we came here for a whole winter to have a look at houses. And we were living in a tiny, very cold flat nearby while we were looking at houses and trying to buy one particular house. This was a letter home to my mum, explaining all the problems that we were having. So it was in December, and I put the sun was shining. Dear Mum, what do I do with a poinsettia? At the moment it's dropping leaves like it's autumn. It will be bald soon. I don't think it likes the cold flat much. Can't blame it. We were pulled over by the traffic police at a checkpoint today. A friendly young chap was checking my licence and documents when an older one came wandering across looking a bit bemused, and asked S, that's my husband, who's always called S in the books, who was sitting in the car, for his documents. No, she was driving, he said. The officer peered into the car. Oops, the steering wheel is on the wrong side. Poor chap couldn't get over it. Must have told us 3 times that the wheel is on the left in Spain, in case we thought he was daft, as if. At least the incident cheered me up. Apparently, the family selling the house went to the notary yesterday and almost came to blows, as one thinks the house is worth more money, so does not want to sell. The saga goes on. I think I'll just set up a tent in a field somewhere and squat. Friday, still sunny and quite warm. We have been looking around the area sightseeing as nothing is happening with the house. Do hope we can sort it out, as we've not seen anything else we prefer, despite visiting properties with everyone we can and even tagging along on viewings with other Brits, just for something to do. We visited a couple of properties the other day. At the first one, the lady had a fantastic fire going in the kitchen, a wood-burning range like most of the houses here. It was only a small room, and she had to open all the windows as it was stiflingly hot. At the second one, The lady showing us round sent her husband off to light the range while we were viewing the upstairs. As she proudly opened the door to the kitchen, there was a huge billow of smoke before hubby appeared looking like a sweep, but more embarrassed. It seems the range lighting had not gone to plan. We did try very hard to keep straight faces. We revisited a house we'd seen before and quite liked in the flatlands beyond Lugo on Wednesday. It has a gatehouse and a moat at the front.
Wow.
The river was halfway across the garden and the gatehouse was flooded. Glad we didn't buy that one then. We also revisited our second choice house yesterday. A very friendly neighbour asked if we were buying it. Lots of land, but more work to do, I think. Although it does have a flushing loo, unlike this one. And it's further from town. It was an hour's walk uphill. My legs ache today. We will keep looking as we have nothing else to do, but I really hope to be able to sort a Casa de Campo, which is the house we were trying to buy.
I mean, that's lovely that you were writing these letters to your mom. That's lovely.
Yeah, I had been writing letters to Mum since I was 18 years old and left home. So I've still got all of them. Actually, I have to do a book for those sometime.
Yeah, it's very sweet. So do people ask you questions now that these books are out there? Are they sort of coming to you for advice about where they want to move or anything, you know, about the area?
I've had a few people ask. Yes, I've met a few people that have moved to the area that have read my books. There's a chap actually moving this week. They're moving to Galicia. He read my books and really loved them. So that's nice. That always makes it worthwhile, I think. And when I wrote the travelogue about Galicia, which is called Porpo, Pig and Peppers, that one I did a travel blog about traveling around Galicia, and I've had quite a lot of people contact me about that and ask about Galicia and traveling Galicia and things like that.
How big is Galicia?
I think we've got 2.7 million people. Area-wise, I don't know area-wise. It's the same width as Portugal, so I've no idea. I know we've got over 1,000 kilometres of coastline, but
yeah, that's quite big. That's not.
Yeah,
I'm imagining something a lot smaller. Yeah.
No, most of the population is in the cities. We've got a few big cities, so Vigo and A Coruña are over 200,000. They're the biggest cities we have. Most of the rest are around 100,000 city-wise.
And how's your Spanish?
Still not as good as I would have liked after all this time, really. It started getting, I think, quite reasonable, and then I think it's gone downhill again, to be honest. I think I'm going backwards.
Do a lot of people there speak English?
No, very few. Very few. They have a few words, but that's all.
See, because I'm in Portugal, and I mean, I'm in an area where almost everyone can speak English. So I wanted to ask you as well, what's one of your favorite memoirs?
That's almost impossible, really.
It is.
I've got so many. That's a very difficult question. One of the first ones that I read was Beth Haslam's Fat Dogs and French Estates memoirs, which I really love.
Say it again.
Sorry, Beth Haslam's Fat Dogs and French Estates.
Fat Dogs and French
Estates.
She's done,
I think, 5. Yeah, I think she's done 5 now, but they're really very good. Her writing excellent, and there's so many memoirs really now. I think it's taken off as a sort of genre really. And I think with self-publishing, that's made it a lot easier because it's not a genre that big publishers really like, unless you're somebody famous, of course.
Right.
Or almost famous, you know. I think otherwise big publishers aren't particularly interested, but there's some great memoirs out there.
And then are you planning to write more? I mean, I guess it sounds like you don't know because
the 6th book is supposedly the last one, certainly in the series. It comes back to Galicia at the end with COVID and lockdown, and comes back full circle to us in Galicia, sitting back at the house, actually enjoying the views, which were the things that, one of the things we bought the house for. So the idea is not to carry on. But then again, one can never say, really.
Right.
I've got a couple of other things I'd quite like to do, but we shall see what happens.
And what advice would you give to people out there that are thinking of writing a memoir?
I think just go for it, really. Do the writing, enjoy it, and then get it out to some people who will read it and give you genuine advice, anything you need to change, or whether it works or not.
Yeah. So was the mystery S, was he good with feedback?
Yes, he does have a name. He's called Stuart.
Yeah.
The neighbours here can't pronounce his name, so he's always S or him, because Stuart is almost impossible for the Spanish to say.
Oh, that's
it
funny.
has to be S. Yeah. So it's usually either him or S, and that's as far as we get, really. Sorry. Yes,
Yeah.
he was my alpha and omega reader. He's very good at telling me I've written something wrong, because he remembers things differently to me.
Oh, so, I'm sure.
I say we did this, and he says, no, we didn't do that. I say, well, I'm writing it, so we did.
Well, also, I mean, if you had all the letters, then you kind of have some backup.
That's true, yeah.
And you said you were writing in a journal as well as you were going.
Yeah, I've always kept a diary as well.
Yeah.
I've got a diary for every year we've been here.
So does...
In fact, I've got some of them here. There we are, look.
Oh, let's see.
There we are, look. We've got...
Oh.
These are some of my diaries from the last 4 years.
So that's 4 years?
Yeah.
So
they're just... sorry.
I was going to say, since you've probably been documenting for a while, if you go back and sort of read through it yourself, can you see how you yourself have changed and like how you've grown, or can you see anything?
The diaries are more sort of day-to-day what we're doing. So I can certainly see how things have changed here, how we have things like toilets and heating and, now cable. I mean,
Yay, yes.
Things that we didn't have when we got here. I don't think my writing in the diaries has changed, because it's not really a journal. It's more what we did today, I suppose.
So you're not saying things about personal feelings about how you're, I don't know.
I do occasionally, but it's not really what they're for. They're just to tell me what we've been doing, because
it's more keeping
we don't
track.
remember otherwise. Yeah. And things like the weather and stuff like that here.
Yeah.
So we know what we've been up to. Except quite often I'll ask him what he's been doing today, and he goes, "Oh, I can't remember now," so that doesn't work too well.
And I mean, you're there full time, right? All year round. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, we made the move. That was it. I don't think we could go back even if we wanted to now.
Yeah. All right. So what's your next adventure coming up?
We've got another big trip planned this winter. It's my, let's say it loud, 60th birthday. So we're going back down under. I've got a niece that lives in Perth. So we're going to Australia and to New Zealand to see some of our workaway hosts.
If it's your winter, it'll be their summer, right?
Exactly, yes, that's the idea, yeah.
Perfect. All right, well, I hope that's a smashing success.
I hope so, yeah. There might even be a book in it, you never know.
Yeah, happy birthday for that one. That's a big one, yeah.
Thank you.
So I hope it's wonderful. And I've always wanted to be, my birthday's in December, and I always thought I'd love to be in Sydney and stay for New Year's Eve and watch that, when they basically explode the Harbour Bridge with fireworks, and it just looks amazing. So hopefully you get to see that if you're there for that.
My birthday's December too, and it's I've always thought I was born in the wrong hemisphere, because I'm a summer baby, really.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have been a winter baby.
Yeah. No, I don't like being in the winter either. Yeah. Not as much fun. Anyway, well, thank you so much for coming and chatting today.
Thank you,
And
Nikki.
I wish you the best of luck with everything. And I will put your website, and people can they can reach you and get all your books and everything from your website, right?
Yeah. There's links to all my books on the website, and there's a gallery, so there's some other photos if people want to look at what the house was like when we moved there and things.
Yeah, lovely. I like that. That's a great idea. I think the idea of putting a link in is very clever.
I think it saves money for people who are either downloading or especially buying the paperbacks.
Yeah.
It makes it much more expensive. I only did it on one, and it made the hardback with colour photos about €30 or something ridiculous. So
Yeah.
it does look good, but it's a bit expensive.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you again, and best of luck.
Thank you very much, Nikki. It was great talking to you.
All right. Bye.